Hello, a blouse that I sew for myself, and that's the second blouse that I sew for myself, and I sew it this year, and I'm just going to walk around to show it to you. So if you are wondering if you can sew your own clothes, this is an example, and I just draft the blouse pattern myself, and just sew it. So the pant, I sew the pants as well, but I sew it last year. And maybe I can and is elasticated waistband pants, and that is last year is when I sew pants for myself for the first time, and that is the first time I sew a pants that I can tuck in my shirt without problem. When I purchase pants, it does not it does not fit me well, or pants that I purchase don't fit me well enough for me to tuck shirt in and be comfortable, because for the pant to be long, usually is too big at the waist and in the crotch side as well. But sewing the pants myself, I'm able to tuck a blouse in easily to wear it to work. And you can see that even raising my hand, the shirt is still tucked in, and I can pull it out so that you can see the length of the shirt, of the blouse. It does not have, the opening is the teardrop, so that is wide enough for my head to go through, and I put 2 inches ease and in it at the full bust and at the hip, and have 1 inch in like the bust measurement. I have it at the waist, but less 1.5 inch, so that is a little bit in at the waist and then move out. I'm a pear shape person, small at the bust and wide at the hip. Therefore, I'm trying to learn how to sew clothing garments so that I can, further my skills to produce more product for our business. And sewing clothing garment is what I'm trying to work on, and this is the pattern that I use. In fact, that will be this one. Oh, that's the same thing, but this is the sleeve, long sleeve. And with this long sleeve, if I want short sleeve, 3/4 or long, I can use the same one. And the sleeve is a little bit bigger than the armhole. That allows me to sew it on the arm, like onto the armhole without problem. And I have a plie type at the top to just have it there. And having just, I'm going to redesign it and improve it, but having just this simple pattern, the idea is I can make multiple variety. Once I cut it, I'll be able to make some changes to it. So for instance, this one has teardrop, and I just measure it and cut it on the fabric. The pattern does not have that. But the pattern, when I redesign it, I like to reduce the color a little bit area. So the color the neckline is 3 inches wide. I like to make it 2.5 inches to see how that will be. That way it will be a little bit smaller at the neckline. That way it will be designed for blouses with colors. And from there, when I cut the fabric, I can make the neckline at the front lower if I want to, keeping the length, the width or the width of the length of the neckline the same. I can just change the depth of the neckline. And with this is designed for sleeve blouses. I have the armhole all the way to the full bust, and that gives a bigger it makes it loose and comfortable to move around when you are working. You know, you have room in the sleeve to move around, and having the sleeve, the armhole all the way to the full bust, you will end up with a big sleeve like this. So, and fold in two, give a big sleeve with movement, ease for movement in it quite a bit. So, and I found that to be very comfortable, and that's how I'm going to design my long sleeve blouses. And today is August 30th 2025, and I think I designed the pattern July 29 2025, and I sew it. So and I just, it took quite a bit of try though. I'm sewing for my kids, but this seems to be the first pattern of sleeve pattern for myself. I sewed sleeveless pattern for myself last year. So and I learned some skills from that, but this is the sleeve pattern that I designed, and it seems to work well. So I'm sewing for my children as well for the school wardrobe, and I'm learning skills there. With the kids, you are going to sew often because they grow, change sizes, but for an adult like me, for instance, I don't change sizes much. Therefore, if you are sewing for yourself, once you design the pattern, you will use it for a while, and so you might just have to. In fact, I try to design the teardrop there because I'm learning the skills, and I'm sharing that with you just in case it can help you decide. I try to simplify the skills that I'm learning. That way, you know, I can learn it faster, and with all the other obligations that I have. So I didn't want to work with that. I didn't want to work with buttonhole and zipper. Therefore, I designed the blouse not to have any of those, no that, and I designed it to be wide, to be loose, and the teardrop will be what will make the neckline bigger enough for my head to go through, and the head circumference, it could be around 25 inches. So you just want to make sure everything is wide enough there to go through your head. And with this, you cannot really cinch in the waist because the waist will go through your head, through your bust before we'll get to your waist. So I try to use a full bust minus 0.25 inches, and the full bust I have 2 inches ease plus 1 inches seam allowances, and I have that for the upper bust as well. But this design is more like for a pear shape person. So my upper bust and my full bust, are the same size, and I just went from there cinch it in a little bit at the waist and then move it out. So but yeah, and so it is a little bit triangle, and that is that. But I have a daughter that is a little bit that her shape is a little bit different, but the same principle is working for her, using between the upper bust and the full bust. Use the larger size there for the upper bust and for the full bust, and go from there down and down. So but I found that using 2 inches is in it, plus 1 inch is seam allowances, is allow me to make a loose blouse that is comfortable for work. And I'm trying to design a wardrobe for my work, and this amount, everything that I saw so far for myself when it comes to sleeveless top and 2 long sleeve shirt or blouse, this is the first one that is very good for work. Although I've been wearing all of them for work, but this, I feel comfortable in it, and I like to redesign the pattern so that I can make the neckline a little bit smaller in the weave side and then go from there. And I just like to share it with you to inspire you if you are thinking about sewing clothes for yourself, because it's hard for you to find clothing garments tailor for your size when you purchase them from the store and you are thinking about sewing for yourself or for your kid. That is sewable. As for the pen, I'm doing elastic waistband pen, and you saw me, I tuck it in and I like it. It's comfortable. Again, there is no zipper, there is no that either. The waist, the hip circumference is what I use at the waist as well, and just cut the 1 inch elastic for my waist circumference, -2 is what I cut the elastic to use there. And because I'm using the hip circumference at the waist, it cinch the rest in. So for my age, you know, my waist fluctuates, so therefore having a waistband pant just work for me. And that's just one pattern, and that's what I use for myself, and that's what I sew for my children as well, because being kid and growing, their size changes, and having a elastic waist pant for them, they are not going to feel comfortable when if they are outgrowing the pant. It's still going to fit them well at the waist. It's just going to get shorter at the bottom. Does that make sense? They will grow taller, but it's still going to fit them well at the waist until they get rid of it. But yeah, I just wanted to share it with you how you can sew a work outfit for yourself, pants and blouse. So what do you think? And I'm trying to, at the same time that I'm working on my wardrobe, I'm thinking about the color, what I will choose for the fabric. Oh, and by the way, this is 100% cotton, and I like to call it quilting cotton. They were on sale, and I stock up to sew things for our business. The pants and the blouse, they are made out of quilting cotton. So I'm thinking about using printed fabric for the top and solid color for the bottom, and playing with color wheel as well, so that I don't have a lot of clothing, but I can, you know, a lot of top can match, can go with a lot of bottom as well. So, but yeah, and one thing I like to point out is the solid color. The color is the same for the inside and the outside of the fabric. You can see this one, for instance, the inside and the outside is the same. The printed one, they printed on the top of the fabric, so the inside does not have the prints, and the outside has a one thing I noticed it, the printed one, they tend to fade over time, and I think maybe the solid color may not fade over time. But again, I'm thinking about having and the second thing I noticed is the printed one, it does not wrinkle too much, but the solid color tend to wrinkle more. But that's just a personal observation. Also, I'm thinking about having the printed one as a top and having the solid color at the bottom, just to mix the texture and the solid color together like that, and then trying to complement colors. So for instance, I'm wearing a green pants with a green, a red can go with it. So when I have a red top, it can go with this green, but right now I'm wearing this green pant with a black. So, and with a blue, I can put brown, because blue complement orange, but brown is a darker color of orange. Therefore, if I have brown, it can go with blue. But I have found that sometimes with blue like this, I don't know if I can find it here, but there is some yellows. There is some yellows, like this yellow here, can go with it as well. But sometimes with the printed colors, depending if you have a printed fabric with different type of colors in it, then you know a solid color at the bottom. If you take this, for instance, this print, if you use it for blouse, you can wear yellow, blue, green pants at the bottom. Does that make sense? So yeah, sometimes depending on your choices, if you like a lot of prints, depending on the print that you choose. If you have paint, the idea, if you have paint on for all those primary and secondary colors in your wardrobe, then you can have those tops. If it is print with different colors, multiple paints can go with it. So blue, green, red, yellow, purple, orange. So that's 6 right there. They are the primary and secondary colors. So if you like those colors, all of those, I don't really care much for purple out of all of them. But if you have paints in 6 paints in those colors, for instance, then for the top, you know, you can add those prints that depend on the prints. Some of them can go with a lot of paint as well. And I do know that black, brown, gray, you can make paints out of those if you want, and they can go with pretty much any top you might have, especially brown in my opinion though. But yeah, in addition to those 6, if you like black, brown and gray, you can have paints in those and add it to it. So that will make it like 9 pair of paints in those solid colors, and then you can just have your blouses to go on there. But I'm working on that, and just to see how I can have a good wardrobe that I won't have a lot of clothes. So I have big totes. I would say big tote, but it's not that big. But I like to keep my clothes in totes, and I just like to have like two totes with my clothing in it, and that's it. And I don't like to hang too much things in the closet. Just like to have them in the tote and just have my clothing there. So, and that is just how I can have a small wardrobe but have a variety to work with. And the idea that I'm coming with now, because my home clothes are out there as well, some of them are torn, so what I'm thinking is just have one wardrobe, not wardrobe for home, wardrobe for work, but have one wardrobe that I can work for work and for home as well. Does that make sense? Because I work from home, and I go to the office and I have a business where I create video. So just to be camera ready, meeting ready, even when I'm working from home, just have one wardrobe that every day when I shower in the morning and I put clothes on, I'm ready for work. Whether I'm going to the office, I'm working from home, or I'm recording a video, I'm ready all day long. Does that make sense? So having something that is natural fiber and comfortable to wear, so that is the type of wardrobe I'm working toward. And just see how I can just have, you know, that small wardrobe, and thinking about one outfit a day without duplicate or using it the next day, but one outfit a day, being in it all day, and change it the next day I wear another outfit. So that means I had to see how many outfits for the week type of things and work from there. It might be like 7, and just, you know, work from there, and to see if I can, you know, to see what kind of combinations there I can work with. So but it is a learning process, and I like to share that with you to inspire you as well, if you are interested to know more about how to sew your own clothing. But yeah, and it's something I like to say but I forgot. But yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you in this video. And also, you know, try to see I can have a dress, blouse, pants, and even within blouses, narrow them down to the type of blouses that I like to have as well, because with one pattern you can make multiple design out of it as well. If you want to add yoke, you can add yoke. This is so comfortable that you will think it has yoke, but it does not have yoke. So it does not have yeah, it does not have yoke. But with one pattern like this, multiple things, multiple type of design can be made out of it. And if I want to make button shirts, a button up blouse. But yeah, just I'm trying to work all those things out to see how I'm going to make it work. And I just don't want to, I want to narrow it down. And just to, for instance, this year I'm thinking about having one color for myself, which is going to be pleated color. My kids prefer, one of them prefer shirt like color, so I'm using convertible color for her. And but for me, I like pleated color, and with keyhole and ties. So, and by designing my own pattern, I like to break down the different pieces of the top, the neckline, the bust, the waist, the hem, the armhole or the sleeve, and I have a list of different type of neckline, different type of color, different type of waist and hem, and I just like to pick in those categories and put it together to design a pattern. So, and then I will say, okay, so if I'm going to keep the pleated color, the teardrop, I can change the shape of it, whether I just want a slit or I can design the teardrop differently as well, longer, shorter, or this, and so forth. And even in the pleat, I can have smaller or longer and things like that, and so forth. And I can color code as well, color block as well. Maybe the trim, this, and what I use for the teardrop, the bias, can be different color if I chose to. If it's a print, I can use solid color for the bias, because the bias is showing, that's what the tie is made out of, and this is made out. I can use a solid color for that as well. But doing things like that. And I like to sew blouse, sleeveless, and Cami. So 3 things: blouse, sleeveless, and Cami. And for the Cami, I can use solid color for the cami and use printed color, printed fabric color for the strap, spaghetti strap, and the bias trim. Expose it to color code that, or I can use printed color for the cami and use solid for the bias trim at the neckline and strap, or reverse it. Does that make sense? So same fabric, two fabric, printed and solid. I can make two cami, one with the printed color with the fabric, the printed color, and the solid color for the cord and the trim, and another one will be to reverse it, to have solid color, and the printed color will be, if I don't know if I'm saying the right things, but one cami will be solid color, one cami will be printed, and then I will use this, you know, the one that is solid color will use printed fabric for the bias. The one that is a printed fabric will use solid color for the bias. Or the one that is I'm confusing myself. The one that is solid color will use printed fabric for the bias. I don't know if I'm repeating the same thing or not, but I think you get the idea. So things like that. Even for the sleeveless, I can use solid color. I can use printed color for it and use solid color for the trim at the armhole and the neckline. I just found like exposing the bias trim can add some decorative look to the outfit, so I'm going to be doing that. But those three outfits will make up my tops, and for the cami and the sleeveless, I can wear cardigan or jacket on top of it, and I will sew the jacket just like the way I'm sewing the blouse, but it's just going to be open and meet at the middle and without button or buttonhole, just to wear, and long sleeve to wear on those cami and sleeveless. So you can call it a shirt jacket or a shirt cardigan, I don't know, but it's just going to be pretty much like this blouse, and with no button or buttonhole, and to wear on the cami. So but it's just going to be like the blouse but open in the middle, and with this to tie it or things like that. But those are the ideas, and just have, you know, those simple, simplify it and just make a wardrobe, and I have different colors I can work with, and just three patterns, design three patterns and just work with those sleeveless, long sleeve, and cami patterns. So that is what I'm working toward, and that is the wardrobe that I'm designing for my kids, for their school wardrobe as well. The girls have three patterns like that, of course with some variations, but and I just keep, but it took quite a bit of time to design the pattern though. I went through multiple iterations, keep learning, changing something, sew it, they will wear it, I'll see how it fit them and all those, try to see if I can make those designs, you know, without that. And but one of my kids, I put a armhole dart on her sleeveless, because the sleeveless was, I created two pattern, one that the sleeveless has a narrower shoulder seam, and that one required it made the armhole bigger, therefore require a dart there to fit her well, and it works. And that was my first time putting that on a pattern, and again I'm working toward one scale at a time. But that is the idea, and I'm just sewing with 100% cotton, quilting cotton, and I'm making an outfit in it. It's not expensive, and if it faded, we can just repurpose the fabric to make, you know, towels, to sew towels out of it. That's what I decided, that we can just cut them and sew towels for kitchen, wash them in hot water, and then have them like napkins, to have them for the kitchen, for kitchen use purposes. But that is the idea that I'm sharing with you in case you wanted to sew your own clothing as well. Thank you so much for your time. We thank you very much for watching our videos, and we thank you very much for your time. We thank you very much all that subscribe to our channel. I'm Afiavi Liberman, Cross of Liberman Consulting L.L.C YouTube channel, and ninasoap.com our blog. On our channel and on our blog, we share different ways to save money and different ways to make money to reach your financial independence, where you do not depend on an employer to provide for your family. And sewing your own clothes is one way to save money. At least that is the goal. And I'm trying to see how I can reach that goal. One is we are using quilting cotton to sew, although I purchased some fabrics that I have not cut into yet, like twill. In fact, I sew twill as well, but I purchased some that are a little bit on the pricier side to give it a try, and just trying to figure out the apparel fabric that is good for our budget, that I will narrow it down to after trying different type of fabric. The one that I will narrow it down to for apparel. I don't think quilted cotton fabric is made for apparel, but you can sew clothing for it. I sew pants that I've been using since last year, and that's what I'm wearing out of quilting cotton, but I purchased some apparel fabric as well. And for quilting cotton, the width is like 54 inches for the fabric, and I think apparel fabric tend to be longer or wider, but I think it depends too though. But I purchased broadcloth, poplin, broadcloth, poplin, gauze, double gauze, twill, corduroy, and I have not tried them yet, but I think this year, last year, work on it this year. I purchased them last year, but this year, sewing for my kids, I felt more confident. I feel more confident to carry into those, to sew them some clothing out of it this year. That way I can see how I feel with those fabric compared to the quilting cotton that we are using, pretty much to try to see what work for our budget, narrow down those fabric to few that I will use moving forward. Again, trying to sew for ourselves to save money and find products to make to sell as well. It is my goal, my project, and that's what I'm sharing with you as well. So thank you so much for your time. Do you sew your own clothes, or do you sew for your children? Will share your comments with us in the description. Thank you.